Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. We've got some breaking news in case involving whistleblowers. You know, we're working with our friends in Empower Oversight on their whistleblower project, and ACLJ has a team that's assisting on this. And Tristan Levin's on the phone with us right now because Marcus Allen's case has been an interesting one. This guy was the agent of the year. He was a United States Marine veteran, an intelligence analyst, a rifleman. He's received top secret security clearance. That has been revoked. Tristan, tell us a little bit about Marcus before we get into what's the latest with his case. I think we've talked about it before, but I think people need to be reminded of who this is.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marcus served in the Marine Corps from 2000 to 2005. He's an intelligence analyst. It's really interesting that he was exposed to live enemy fire during that deployment on multiple occasions, even though he was there just to serve in intelligence and analytical roles. So this is someone who served our nation honorably, and he received for his service there the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal and an Achievement Medal as well. And he also in 2004 was the runner-up for the Intelligence Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. So again, just really, really remarkable service there. And so he served in some various intelligence positions after the Marine Corps, and ultimately in 2015, I believe, ended up at the FBI. And again, as you mentioned, as the Employee of the Year there, he had really just provided excellent service for them. He's someone who loves our country. He's a man of faith. That's very, very central to him in his life. And so he was thrilled to be doing the work that he was doing, trying to serve our nation at the FBI.
What was the basis that they've alleged for the violation here of and revocation of a security clearance?
So the initiation of it is very, very clearly from an email that he sent. It was right after the New York Times had published the first article where they indicated they had reviewed documents about how there were FBI confidential informants present at the Capitol on January 6th. And so that New York Times article in September of 2021 got spread in a lot of places. He saw a follow-up place that was writing about that, and forwarded that to his chain of command, just telling them there's a good possibility that the DC elements of our organization aren't being forthright about the events of the day or the influence of government assets. This was not like an out of left field sort of thing. Reuters had done a story earlier in the year also that very specifically said, the FBI declined to talk about how, again, this just contradicted what the impression that Director Wray had left before the Senate. And so, but that email is what was forwarded on and became the initiation, the basis for this whole investigation.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got a 26-page letter that you have written. I know Jane Raskin from our office was helping on this to rebut what they've done here. And this is to the Human Resources Branch of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We got a copy of the cover of the first page of the letter on the screen right now. Tell us what you've uncovered.
Well, it was very clear from their internal documents. So the FBI is required to produce the documents upon which its proposed revocation is based. And it was very clear, again, that this whole entire investigation came about just because of this protected disclosure. Again, questioning whether the director of the FBI lied to Congress is reasonable based on the reporting that was out there. It was a logical conclusion based on all the information. And to this day, it's still, I think, everybody would agree at this point that Wray was less than forthcoming in that testimony. But what the internal documents made clear was that his chain of command freaked out at that, for lack of a better word. So laying out there, if you look on like page 8 of it, it talks about how all the way up the chain of command, his immediate supervisor thought that his email questioning Wray crossed the line because it was inappropriate to have accused the leadership of the FBI. That individual supervisor said it was out of line for him to insinuate that FBI leadership was lying. Again, just up and down the chain of command, that specific piece of information was why they questioned him and why they sent this for a referral of investigation. And that is just at the heart of whistleblowing. Being able to question your agency leadership is not questioning America, not questioning, any of the things that security clearance is all about. But that was the basis for it. Now, down the line, they dug into all of his emails, as they interviewed and re-interviewed people. There were some later allegations, and they all came up after Marcus had already been interviewed. So after his initial interview, then way down the line, a couple people came forward, and one particular FBI agent he'd worked with claimed that he hadn't identified certain information in a Google search. And so this information he was never asked about. He never had a second interview. And the FBI sent that to Congress The day before he and I went to testify before the weaponization subcommittee, again, without ever giving him an opportunity to address this in any way. So this document is also the first time for him to address and point out, just what a silly argument it is that he missed this one thing in a search.
Yeah, so and it's certainly not a basis to revoke your security clearance and then, which basically affects your livelihood in that field. It's interesting because subsection D says basing an investigation and subsequent personnel actions on a protected disclosure constitutes reprisal and retaliation. And there's no doubt in our mind, Tristan, that this is a retaliation. No doubt.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. It's interesting because in this context, the FBI there's not a lot of language out there on revocation of security clearances, right? There just isn't an area where, in the civil context, for instance, with Title V stuff, the Merit Systems Protection Board that I served on, you have there so much case law on what constitutes reprisal, what constitutes retaliation.
You don't have that here, I know. It's different.
Yeah.
But what's I find interesting here with all of this is we know the situation with the FBI right now because we've seen the abuse. We've documented the abuse. So everyone is on pins and needles in dealing with the FBI.
Absolutely. Under the Biden administration, we have seen this time and time again. If you do not align with their morals or lack of morals and their positions, you become an absolute target and they will destroy you.
Yeah, and Harry, from what Tristan's saying, the agency's actions here really put these agents in a catch-22.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, they're going after agents who have served the United States government honorably. They are engaged in reprisals, violations of the First and possibly the Fifth Amendment. Meanwhile, the FBI has failed, at least in my opinion, along with the DHS, to track terrorists who are walking across our southern border. So there's disproportionality going on here. We are going after an individual who has served the United States honorably, but nonetheless, we're allowing individuals who threaten the security of the United States and basically without scrutiny. It makes no sense.
So, Tristan, what did we ask for here quickly? We're running close on time.
So we asked for his clearance to be reinstated, for him to be put back in his job, and for him to receive back pay for the year and a half that they've kept him without any income due to this suspension.
All right, very good. And if you want to get information about Empower, we encourage you to do it at Oversight. What's the best place, Tristan?
EmpowerOversight.org.
All right, EmpowerOversight.org. We're glad to be partnering with them. They do great work, support their work and their endeavors. Thanks for being with us, Tristan. We appreciate it.